How's it going? I was recently given a copy of Enshrouded by Keen Games to get my thoughts on the game. It is an open world survival game that came out in 2024 in early access. So, I figured I would check it out and see if its current state is worth playing. So, from the very start, you have a main quest. Like most survival games, the main quest is basically an overall guide. It shows you pretty much everything: how to fight, how to craft, gather, build, and also places to go to as well. From what I know, and what I've seen so far, there isn't much story here. There are notes you can find in different areas, but not really like a quest line with the story, to my knowledge anyway. So the joy comes from building, fighting, and doing stuff like that, rather than like a real quest line, I would say. As far as the feel of combat, there's a game that recently came out called Eternal Strands. I would say it's a mix of that and also Conan Exiles, in my opinion. I would say movement is a bit stiff, so if they loosen that, it'll be much better. The combat is a bit deeper than most survival games, I would say. You have swords, axes, wands, staffs with spells, bow and arrow, some decent variation. And I will mention, there is a combat roll, but this is not a Souls-like. Anytime people roll in a game, people say Souls. It's not that at all. Trust me. It's not my favorite combat system, but it's better than most survival games, I would say. The addition of wands and also having a parry definitely helps. Another cool thing as well, you have a decently sized talent tree and different specializations as well, like trickster, wizard, survivor, battle mage, quite a few options. And it's not super extensive, but I bet they can add more as well. And there's enough here to try different builds. As I mentioned earlier, you have crafting and gathering as well. Not much to say here. Both are pretty simple, easy to gather, easy to craft, and from what I've seen, no time-based systems for this. Everything is instant. As far as the building system, it's pretty good. It's easy to do. There's a snapping system, different materials, different kinds of furniture. I would say so far, the building is better than the average survival game, at least the ones in early access. Another game it seems to draw inspiration from, I believe, is Zelda. There are dungeons in the game called spires, and this is a tower where you solve puzzles, and there are chests too with pretty good items. It's like a mix of shrines and also dungeons a bit. And once you finish, you have a new waypoint, and you can see areas around you that are of interest. From what I've seen, the shrines are only based around puzzles. I'm not sure if there are battles inside of them, but from what I've seen, there are not. And if that's the case, I like it. Another part of the game as well is finding NPCs that serve different roles. For example, a blacksmith, an alchemist, things of that nature. And once they're at your base, they make stuff for you, if you give them the materials for it. And they also give quests too, like making a glider, a grappling hook, stuff like that. As far as other players, each server allows up to 16 people in a game. However, I will note, this is co-op, not PvP, so you cannot fight them. You can help each other or run solo. Co-op is not required though. If you want to do it solo, you can. If you want to do co-op, you can. The last thing I'll touch on is exploration and environments. After a few hours, I've seen a few different environments. I've seen forests, I've seen caves, ruins, I've seen an old village. The areas called Enshrouded are like tainted marshes, kind of. So pretty good variety there. And to get around, you can use a grappling hook or glider. There are no mounts, and I'm not sure if they plan to add any. Now for the important question. Who is this game for? If you like survival games and action games, this should be very good for you. And even if you don't like survival games, you might like this. If the things you dislike are constantly eating, constantly needing a drink, you will find those are not issues here. Eating and drinking are optional. They're for healing and giving you buffs. Also, if you hate the griefing in PvP games, not an issue here. However, if you don't like crafting, gathering, building, probably not for you. Those are pretty important here and necessary to play the game. However, if you do co-op, someone can do that for you and you just fight if you want to do that. So right now, game is in a pretty good state. Decent amount of content, relatively polished. It looks good, but could run a bit better. I do feel like I should be getting more frames, but it's not terrible or anything. And I would say it is pretty fun. So if this interests you at all, I would say check it out. But if you need more polish, maybe wait a bit. And if there's too many survival game mechanics for you, I would say skip it. And that's about it. If you liked the video, leave a like and sub for more. If you have thoughts or questions, leave a comment. I'll respond. See ya.